Hi, this is Frank with a Frank Opinion. Well, yesterday proved once again that a couple of slogans really have it right. It's not over till it's over, said by one of the greatest philosophers of all time, Yogi Berra, or something like that. And the other one is, sometimes you have to get worse before you get better. Which brings me to Medicare for All. And today's video is going to be the beginning of a series of videos, probably at least 5 in the first segment, that argue for Medicare for All, single-payer, universal health care for the United States is probably the single issue right now, in my opinion, that can bring us together towards a better country. And let me try to explain why. A recent poll indicated that the two issues that created the most stress and anxiety for Americans were the current divisiveness of the country, that was polled at 59%, but the second one was stress related to health care, in terms of not being insured, not having sufficient insurance. If you have insurance, the problems that you have in terms of getting benefits and getting reimbursements, etc. Healthcare was the number 2. And look what happened yesterday. In Virginia, as commentators, at least on the few stations that I looked at, said healthcare was, as far as a policy issue, the number 1 issue that brought the Democrats to win as many legislative seats as they did, and obviously the 3 statewide races. And that proved to be the case in many areas across the country yesterday where Democrats won seats. But let me give you a way of looking very quickly, I hope, at how health care and Medicare for All, single payer, cuts across so many things. There isn't a single issue that I can think of where how we deal with health care in the future, in terms of its coverage, in terms of its financing, doesn't hit on that particular issue. So let me quickly start. It's pro-family. Healthy kids. It's intergenerational, because single payer Medicare for All will cover long-term care. It allows families to spend more time with each other instead of finagling and trying to figure out what coverage they should have and how to figure out how to pay for it. And also how to figure out if they lose coverage because of a job loss or because they want to leave a particular job for a better job, how they're going to lose that coverage. It's pro-family. Income and wealth inequality. There are millions and millions, 28 million currently on any one of the proposals that's been put forth, another anywhere between 16 and 28 million people uninsured. The greatest reason for going through bankruptcy is because of healthcare costs. Income and wealth inequality. Fiscal conservative. For those that want some fiscal conservative approach, it has been declared by Canada, as a matter of fact, Canada's Medicare for All, the original Medicare for All, was enacted by conservative government. It's conservative because the healthcare costs, particularly in terms of insurance and pharmaceutical costs, the way it's currently structured as a profit mechanism is going to continue to go through the roof and eat up so much GDP. The only way to control costs is by having health insurance be in a Medicare for All situation. Strengthening democracy. The majority of Americans want a Medicare for All single-payer system. And the numbers in terms of percentages of Americans that want that is going up every year. Money in politics. If we successfully enact or come close to enacting universal health care, we are successfully dealing with corporate control, both in terms of the health insurance lobby and pharmaceutical lobby, which are 2 of the greatest infusers of lobbying money in Congress. We're effectively beginning to deal with money in politics. If you want to address gun violence and you want increased access and funding for mental health services, well, there you got it. Mental health is covered in both the Senate and the House bill. It's pro-business and job growth, really. And if you want proof of the pudding of that, you go and watch Fix It. Fix It. Healthcare at the tipping point. There are other pieces of research that indicate that a Medicare for All system will actually increase job growth. And the most important one, in my view, is that yesterday represented a sea change in terms of culture, of Americans caring for each other. And as I indicated in my last video dealing with the shooting in Texas, if we care, it's the secret to public policy that makes sense for our country. Medicare for All is ripe. We've got the House bill, which you probably already know, or if you don't, H.R. 676, the Expanded and Improved Medicare for All Act, John Conyers' great bill, has 120 co-sponsors, including him. That's 121 congresspeople. Senate Bill 1804, with 16 co-sponsors on the Senate side. Senator Sanders' bill, so that means 17 senators on the Senate side. You have research by the Government Accounting Office and the Congressional Budget Office spanning over 20 years that indicate that a Medicare for All single-payer system saves money and increases coverage for all. It's the only way to get coverage for everybody and reduce cost. State initiatives. As of the end of May, as of June 1st, 20 states have state initiatives for Medicare for All universal system for their state. And the research and facts and the morality support Medicare for All single payer. It's the right thing to do. So I have a couple of suggestions. And the first one is this. Every Facebook group that's progressive, that is interested in Medicare for All as its primary focus, should have a coordinator, an administrator, appoint a coordinator, or maybe that person would volunteer or deputize themselves. And this is not just the healthcare groups. These are the progressive groups, these are the Bernie groups. I would submit to you that we go beyond that and try to entice other groups as well that may not be to our political way of thinking, that they should also have somebody within their Facebook group be a coordinator for providing information and for being a catalyst to as many members of the group, not just a small percentage, become informed in the Medicare for All single-payer debate. Yesterday was the beginning. Can't lose the momentum. The relentlessness of this is absolutely key. This can be achieved, and it can be achieved sooner than we think. Thanks.